Now, the November-December period is a time filled with lots of celebratory events. And in the film and television industry here in Nigeria, it's a time of rewarding filmmakers, showcasing the work of filmmakers, TV producers, and people working tirelessly to put Nigerian stories on the global map. We've seen the rise and the adoption of Nigerian content going global through streaming platforms, television, the cinemas, and it can only get better as a result of the work a lot of people in the industry are making, specifically festivals where people can watch films, can discover new talent, and can get rewarded for their efforts. One of such events that has become the lifestay here in Nigeria is the African International Film Festival, popularly called AFRIFF, which takes place in November. This conversation looks at what to expect and also for those who have attended in the past, what has the experience been like and what needs to be done to continue to push our stories out there. Joining me for this conversation is the project director at AFRIFF, Isioma Idigbe. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you so much for having me.
And seated next to her is a filmmaker, Comfort Booth. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to start with you, Isioma. How important are film festivals, African film festivals that prioritize not just Nigerian content, but content from across Africa in ensuring that our stories get to audiences across the world?
I think African film festivals are extremely important, and AFRIFF being one of the most important that we have in the festival calendar on the continent. And it's important because it becomes a gathering place where not just the films can be shown, but also that the filmmakers from across the continent can meet each other and interact and continue to collaborate to tell more stories. So at AFRIFF, for instance, this year we have over 50 international delegations attending the festival, and that's why we're the African International Film Festival. So we not only are we showcasing the African filmmakers within an African space, but we're showcasing it to people from all over the world that come to our festival. The festival becomes an opportunity for them to see this work that they may not ordinarily be able to see in their different markets.
So a place of discovery, a place of collaboration, partnerships, and a lot of huge networking opportunities available. Now, I'd like to hear directly from someone who has been there, done that, and probably has the T-shirt to show for it. Comfort, what has your experience been like attending AFRIFF as a filmmaker?
So interestingly, I attended AFRIFF for the first time last year. So that was AFRIFF 12. And it was the attending and just seeing the depth of knowledge, the breadth of networking, and the inspiration that people bring to life that made me say, I'm going to do this next year. A year later, I have a short film. And not just that, I submitted to AFRIFF, my first time ever, and I was selected. So I'm showing, I'm super excited. That's what AFRIFF has done for me. So I didn't even start out as a filmmaker. I started out just as a writer and got inspired. And it's a platform that is open. I think that's what I liked about it. It was open. I didn't feel like an imposter. I didn't feel as if I was telling a lie. I didn't feel, as if this is not where I belong. No. It gave that breadth of expression.
I'll come back to you because I want to hear all about this short film. And it's interesting that your journey just started.
Yes.
And yet, with some events, there seems to be, I don't know if you watched the previous segment, but there's like a queue, like you wait in turn when it gets to your turn. There are people who have paid their dues. How is AFRIFF democratizing that space so that if tomorrow after this conversation I say, you know what, I also want to have my short film, is it possible?
So, it's so great to hear Comfort's story. And funny enough, last year was the first time I was a project director. So that was my first sort of control of putting the festival together. So it makes me so happy to hear that feedback from you. And this is my second year as project director. And my story in AFRIFF as well is sort of the same story, where my day job, I'm a lawyer. I'm actually a partner at a law firm. And I started off by saying that I wanted to do entertainment law training courses at the festival. And that was literally the beginning of me getting involved in volunteering in the festival and working my way all the way up to project director. But in terms of as a filmmaker, there's so many things that we have on offer for filmmakers. We have masterclasses, we have workshops that are completely free to attend. All you have to do is go on the website and register within the appropriate time. And if you're lucky, because it's always oversubscribed, you'll be able to get into one of those classes. And these are classes that are usually done by some of the best filmmakers, not just in Nigeria, Africa, but around the world, which we are having the same as well this year. And when you submit your films, you submit your film on something called Film Freeway, which is it's an international place where all film festivals are there. You can submit, and we have an independent selection committee that look through all these films and shortlist the films for selection. It's actually quite a big deal when you get shortlisted at AFRIFF. Congratulations!
I know, thank you.
And we've had a number of our films shortlisted in AFRIFF that have gone on to bigger international film festivals. We've had filmmakers who have come through our training programs that have gone on to be big stars. Some of the ones I'll talk about, CJ Obasi is one of our big success stories, whose film won at the Sundance Film Festival last year. We have Adesuwa Etomi Wellington, who was one of the people that we trained at the festival, one of our biggest actresses now. And we can name so many. We have Roye Okupe of Unique Studios, who now has a collaboration with Max and Cartoon Network for his cartoon series Iyanu. The first time he ever showed in Nigeria, and that was actually where I met him, was showing his short animated film at AFRIFF. That's the magic of AFRIFF, that anybody who has an idea, who has a passion for the film industry, it's a safe place for you to come to, meet people, show your work, have that work constructively criticized or accepted, whichever way, but you're going to come out of it stronger, better, more informed, more connected, and be in a better position to be able to move forward in your career.
Congratulations once again, Comfort, on being shortlisted at AFRIFF. It is a big deal indeed. Tell us about the inspiration. What made you shift from going from writing to actually going behind the camera to do a whole short film? And why did you think it was important for it to show at AFRIFF?
So I'm a movie buff. I even do movie reviews. I grew up on movies, courtesy my mother. So films have always been in my life. And then I have the talent of writing. So it actually started out with me trying to, this year, finally publish a book. I have them all over the place, uncompleted. And I had this compilation of short stories. So I now attend AFRIFF, get inspiration. So remember, I'm on the trajectory to be an author. Get inspired. And now say, no, I just loved how comfortable it was. And I like what you said, that there's some industries where you have you paid your dues? You know, why is this person here? I didn't get any of that. And so I felt, okay, so why not? Low-hanging fruit, it's one of the festivals that is recognized. You know, it's the biggest on the continent. So why not? If it's that, as you called it, democratized, I'm inspired, I have access to these tools, I have a talent, then let me start out small. You know, you don't start out small, then you progress. So I took one of my stories. I took the one that I love, one of the stories that I love that I wrote, yes, because I loved it. It came from me, you know. And then I looked for the good hands. I looked for solid hands. Might be more expensive, but you do want your first attempt. So I think that would be one piece of advice, you know. If you're going to do it, your first time, make sure you look for the solid hands because they will still handhold you into it. You need it. If you like, later on you can fly, but start well. So that was it. And that was an AFRIFF for giving me the inspiration. It was only right that I would be there. And I spoke it. I said, I want to be selected. You know what? I have to. And let me just say it here. I'm going to win.
Well, wish you all the best with that. Isioma, I want us to look at the larger conversation of how well our movies do on a global stage. I mean, we are seeing an adoption, we're seeing more people requesting, but yet, in terms of the technicalities, in terms of the quality, the film values, maybe because of budget, we're not still seeing the amount of movies that we should see on an international stage. Like you could mention like a few, but we're looking forward to a time where you could mention maybe 10, 20 films. What needs to be done to address those challenges?
So I think, and that's one of the things that we're actually focusing on at the festival this year. So this year at the festival, we've broken up each day into themes. So the first day is Herbert Day. Herbert was one of our patrons of blessed memory. We miss him so much at the festival this year, and we decided to honor him with the first official day of the industry session. And really, in his memory, we'll be talking a lot about the things he believed in: leadership, innovation, growth. This is all linked back to your question. The second day is co production day. The third day is animation day. The fourth day is television day. And then the fifth day is Afro Unity Day. These themes are all linked to your question. How do we get more? How do we get 10 or more Nigerian films at the global stage? At AFRIFF, we have the opportunity to be able to experience the entirety of the ecosystem every time we put the festival together. And so we have this bird's eye view of where the gaps are. And so even when we have strategic partners at the festival, it's about addressing those issues. So some of our strategic partners, we have institutional partners like the Ministry of Arts, Culture, Tourism, and the Creative Economy is a strategic partner for us. The Lagos State government is a strategic partner for us, because some of these issues are structural issues, enabling environment issues that require the government to step in and create those enabling environments. You talk about things like skill gaps. It would be interesting for you to know that some of our top filmmakers, people like Abba Makama, Kenneth Giang, Kenneth Giang particularly, some of the top technical talents, which I'm sure you use some of them in your film, all come from NFI, which is Nigerian Film Institute. But it's also an institution that is extremely underfunded, and yet is producing some of the people who are producing works that are going around globally. So you then have to look at what do we need to do to take an NFI, for example, and supercharge it to be able to deliver for the industry, right? Does it need to only be in Jos? Do we need to have one in every geopolitical zone? And so those conversations we're having with, like the ministry, and we're facilitating those conversations happening. The ministry and Lagos State have been incredibly supportive to the festival. And in them partnering with us, they then have the opportunity to sit in the festival and engage with the filmmakers around what those environmental issues are that are limiting the space. You can't also be looking at trying to be big globally when you haven't actually broken ground locally. We have a total of, I think, 70 to 90 cinema screens in the entirety of West Africa, majority of them being in Nigeria. So there needs to be a significant and intentional cinema expansion from a policy perspective, which means supercharging the private sector to be able to deliver those cinemas. If you look at the Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy's plan, I think they have a plan to do about 4,000 screens or something like that. AFRIFF becomes a place where they can have those dialogues with those stakeholders.
So I hear you, and AFRIFF has made a lot of strides. But when we talk about notable film festivals across the world, you're still talking about the Cannes, the Sundance. When do we see AFRIFF becoming one of those film festivals that, like the Berlinale? How can AFRIFF become a globally well-attended, respected film festival?
So first of all, AFRIFF actually welcomes about 6,000 visitors every year, minimum, and growing. I just told you that we have a 50+ delegation. This is the official foreign delegation. There are people who just attend the festival and are from different parts of the world that we find out when they arrive at our festival. So in terms of international recognition, AFRIFF has established itself as a huge festival in Africa. But I hear you.
Sorry. We're out of time again. So thank you so much. Isioma, thank you so much, Comfort. I wish you all the best with the nomination and all the best with this year's programming. My name is Isabella Adediji.